inspiration video. I'm Danielle Burton, Talent and Education Director at the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Binghamton Education Outreach Program. I'm joined today by William Hoffmann, who is a commercial real estate relationship manager for M&T Bank. Thanks for joining me today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So we're going to just jump right in, and if you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself, that'd be great.
Sure. So I grew up on Long Island, out east in Smithtown. And in 2013, I came up to Binghamton to go to BU, study financial economics. And after college, it was either, do what all my buddies were doing and go down to the city, or stay up here. And I started to really like it up here, so chose to stay. And I've jumped around jobs a little bit and found my home at M&T. So
great. What interested you in pursuing a career in financial services and banking?
When I was in high school, we had a business club called DECA. And we did kind of business competitions, and so that was just what we did. My sister was the president of it when I was in high school, and it was something for me to do, and it just felt like something that I was good at. I wasn't ever really interested in science or art or anything like that, but business just kind of always made sense to me.
Awesome. So explain to us what exactly a commercial real estate relationship manager does and what a typical day looks like for you.
Sure. So what a commercial real estate relationship manager does is basically when a developer or a property owner wants to purchase properties or improve properties or sometimes sell properties, but that's not really my realm of expertise, they would come to me to get the debt on it. And so a normal day for me is a combination of working with customers and working with our credit folks and our kind of internal people. So there's kind of two sides of it in, getting the deals and interacting with customers that are external from the bank, but then also taking all of that information, especially on new money. If someone wants to purchase something or redevelop something, we have to gather the information from the customer and bring it over and kind of present it to our credit folks, who would then kind of scrutinize it and let us know if it's a good deal and if our underwriting was good. And then we would take that information and go back to the customer. And so we're kind of the intermediary between credit and the customers. And then there's all sorts of other annual review things that are way less exciting than the new money deals, which is what I really like. But that's basically how, in a very short order, how most of my job works.
Mm-hmm. So what is it that you kind of feel like you do on a daily basis, or
yeah,
kind of
so
like your normal work hours as well?
They're pretty normal work hours. There's some kind of networking and socializing, of course, after hours. It depends on really the workload. There's some days, annual review season is during the summer, but that's also golf season. So you have to be very good about managing your time during that, because part of being a banker is playing a fair amount of golf. But
an important skill to have outside of the.
It's an important skill to have, and it's something I'm still working on, unfortunately, and something I haven't been able to do a whole lot of, obviously, during this. Mm-hmm. But normally I would come in. I always check LinkedIn to start the day, and then it's a matter of answering emails and kind of putting together what my day looks like. I have a dry erase notebook that I use that I really like, and so the first page is my daily to-do list, and then the second page is kind of people, whether they're prospects or customers that I need to reach out to. And then my third page is kind of internal things that I'm waiting on other people for, I'm working on. So it kind of goes back to that whole working internal versus external, kind of trying to manage that. But that has pretty much been my savior. So then, occasionally we have we call them calls, but they're really meetings, unless you're in quarantine, and then they're actual phone calls. But so we get to drive around to those. And my favorite part of the job is being able to, when we're financing a construction deal, something like that, being able to go and actually see the project. That's really the big thing for me, and the best part about being a real estate lender is being able to go see something that's either being made or being bought or being improved. And that's a large part of my job, depending on the deal, is running around to different properties and just kind of knowing what's going on in the real estate world.
So you mentioned that you participated in DECA in high school. Are there any other sort of extracurricular activities or even courses you think would be great for high school students currently in high school to look at business or finance careers?
Yeah. So obviously finance courses in general are always a good thing. The more that I dig into this role, the more I realized taking a few more accounting courses would be beneficial. I took a few in high school because I was forced to. Accounting never really interested me, but now I realize that it's a huge part of this job, so I'm learning it kind of as I go. We read a lot of financial statements, and so it's important to be able to understand what's going on in those financial statements. It makes life much easier. Economics, I was an economics major, so for me, being able to understand how smaller things impact the larger economy, I think is really beneficial for a job like this, because some of the job is understanding what might happen in the future. If you're underwriting a new property, you want to know what kind of macroeconomic or microeconomic forces would impact rents or occupancy or things like that. And then public speaking. I've always been an okay public speaker. I never took a public speaking course, but if it's something that you're not comfortable with, it's not something that comes naturally to everybody, I think that would be really, really beneficial, especially, if you wanted to be me. There's a lot of presenting to, scary people like the chief credit officer or, my boss or things like that. And then on the other token, being able to interact, whether it's on the golf course or out to lunch or anything with a client too. So I think public speaking is a huge part of it.
And so you mentioned, so you went to school for economics.
Yes.
I always just kind of find it fascinating I know you went to Binghamton University, haven't gone there too. Was there a reason why you chose economics over more of a business degree and doing that more kind of liberal arts education?
Yeah, so I thought I was going to be an economist, which didn't pan out. As I realized what goes into being an economist, I realized that wasn't really on my radar. I took an economics class senior year of high school, and it was kind of an intro to macroeconomics. And I just really liked understanding the bigger picture of how the world worked, and being able to take classes like advanced macroeconomic theory lets you be able to do that more than a finance degree seemed a little bit more specific. So I got financial economics, which was as close as I could get to a finance degree without being a finance degree. And also, admittedly, I didn't know that you had to apply for SOM separately when I went to BU.
I think a lot of people fall into that.
Right. So I might have, but I realized that I just really liked the economics and a broader study versus just the specific finance degree.
Great. And you talked about the skills that you need. And it's funny, I think in almost all these that we've done, everybody said public speaking skills.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean,
but do you have any other advice for anybody that might be interested in a career in finance or banking?
Yeah, intern in different places. So I worked in retail banking for a while, and then I was convinced I wanted to be a financial advisor, and that wasn't for me. And then I found this, and this when my friend Sean told me that there was a job open here, and it was a combination of analysis plus the people skills that he thought that I had. It seemed like kind of the best of both worlds. But when you're in high school or college, intern at separate places, doing kind of different things. I know some places will offer kind of a rotation program. I wasn't fortunate enough to get into that, so I had to rotate in the real world. But something that you might think you want to do when you're 16, 17, 18 might not exactly pan out as you thought. I would say be diverse in your studies while you're in college, so you can get a better sense of what you want to do when you grow up.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. If anybody has any additional questions, my contact information will be on the next slide, and we can get those answered for you. So thanks again.
Great. Thanks, Danielle.